When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
This episode is brought to you by Ferrero. Soccer's biggest stage is approaching, and Ferrero is making it easy to go all in. Pick any two Ferrero brands from Kinder Bueno to Ferrero Rocher, and you could win the $1 million grand prize, plus an exciting range of daily and weekly prizes. Don't miss your shot. Official rules apply. Learn more at goallinandwin.com.
And action! Hello and welcome to episode 349 of the Filmmakers Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk filmmaking from indie film to studio films and everything in between. How to get them made, how to make them, and how to try not to F it up, in a very, very humble opinion. I am Giles Alderson. I'm a writer, director, and a producer. And on today's show, we have a short film masterclass for you with the director, Chris Overton. He won the Oscar for his short film, The Silent Child. He runs Slick Films with Rachel Shenton, where they have made and produced 10 award-winning short films, and they also have 4 short films in post-production. And this episode is how you can too. I started off as a filmmaker making short films and bar mitzvah videos and promos and brand media content, anything I could get my hands on, but it was short films where I could really hone my craft as a filmmaker. And they are huge learning curve for any filmmaker, and it makes you understand the process of it all, not just in the making of it, but what goes into it, how you can actually do it, and most importantly, how you can get your work seen. Chris Overton, as I say, he's won an Oscar. Picture this, the 90th Academy Award ceremony, and you're there for your short film. This is what happened to Chris and Rachel, and they were sat there and their name was read out. This is fantastic. This is an incredible achievement. And this is a masterclass in how you can do it too. So how are you all? I hope you're well. Thank you so much for listening to our Mission Impossible. Well, it feels like it's been never-ending promotion that we've done for it, but thank you for all your love and support. And myself and Dom had some fun making the videos, and I really love all your comments and support for those podcasts. Chris McCrory, director of said films, Eddie Hamilton, editor, and Simon Pegg and Rebecca Ferguson as well. If you've not listened to those, listen to it after you've listened to this. It's another masterclass. It's incredible, and it's a joy to listen to. So I've mentioned it on a couple of podcasts already, but this Saturday is our post-production demystified. It's a Zoom course, so wherever you are in the world, you can join us this Saturday, the 22nd of July. So come along, because organising a film shoot for your short or feature-length film is a complicated endeavour. But when it comes to post, it's even more complicated. But it doesn't have to be even more complicated, because you've got the edit, the grade, the sound mix, music, VFX, and all the deliverables to worry about. But we've teamed up with the Cutting Room to give you a comprehensive walkthrough of the entire process. So it's this Saturday, July the 22nd. It starts at 1 p.m. British Standard Time, where the team will guide you through all the elements you need to plan, all the people you need to hire, all the questions you need to answer in order to effectively schedule and budget for post-production. It's called Post-Production Demystified. There's a huge link in the podcast, but also go to our website, filmmakerspodcast.com, where there's even more information about this, and you can buy tickets there. Post-production supervisor Shaheen Schleifer, she's post-super on Blue Jean and Gangs of London recently, and she's going to tell you how to stay one step ahead of all the demands of managing the schedule, etc. And Neil Lenthorpe, the wonderful editor of Wolves of War and Confession, We'll explain how the edit, often the longest part of post, can be run and how you can make the best use of your time in the edit. You'll also get a copy of our post-production plan, which contains more than 60 questions you need to answer in order to make the right decisions and build your own detailed plan for post. So get ahead of the curve, get on it now. Link to that is in the show notes. It's this Sunday, the 22nd of July from 1 p.m. Post-production demystified. Come join us. Some shout outs for you for some amazing people. I didn't write down everyone who wrote amazing comments on Mission Impossible, so it's just before that. So all those people who did, you're amazing. Shout out to go to Erin Dalton, Mark Hampton, Michael J. Long, who's completed his feature film Baby Brother. Congratulations to you. I look forward to hearing more about that. Simon Ailing and his son, who sent me a lovely message saying that they were listening in the car. And I know Simon from years back, from when we did plays together. So welcome, Simon. Rachel Cave Savage. Karen Newman, whose film at the moment, Love Without Walls, is touring. Herself and Jane Gull are touring around the UK, so do go and see that if you can. Hopefully, we'll get Jane and Karen on the podcast very soon. Laura Guest, Lena Richardson, and to Matthew and Tori Butler Hart, who's raising funds right now for their feature film Dagger. They're raising post funds, as it happens. Now, Matthew and Tori are amazing people. They are also hosts of this very podcast. They've already raised, I think, over 50%. Way over now. It's their 5th feature film, and it's a found footage comedy horror backed by Ian McKellen. Sir Ian McKellen, who has been on this podcast, if you wanted to listen to his episode as well. They've just finished filming, and they need funds for their post-production. So, link to this is in the show notes. Do go support. They give their time for free to give you information and knowledge on this podcast. So do go and support whatever you can give. Even if you go and retweet their top tweet right now, their pinned tweet about this, that is good enough. That I will accept. But if you can, if you do have any spare cash, do go and back the project now. Link to that, Dagger, spelled D-A-G-R, is in the show notes. Okay. Next week is our 350th episode. So myself and the team are going to sit with Stephen Follows and do a Business of Film special all about the SAG strike that's happening right now. And we're going to do facts, figures and information about actors, directors, the usual. But it's back. Business of Film next week, 350th, a big episode. God, 350 of them. There we go. For now, sit back, relax, enjoy me, Giles Alderson, chatting to fantastic director Chris Overton in the short film Masterclass. Enjoy. Hey Chris, how you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm all right. Welcome to the Filmmakers Podcast.
Thanks very much for having me on.
Very pleasure. Does it make sense? It's a pleasure. We are in your office, which is a converted, well, it's still a church, but you've got an absolutely amazing office here. Slick Films' office. It's nice. You're just telling me you've been here a year. Is it something that is massively helpful, beneficial in terms of your thought process to get out of a house, to have like a separate office?
Without a doubt. I think it gives me that separation, but I think I work better in here as well.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I feel more inspired. That's, having the film posters up and things like that. I just think environment plays a big part. So, I don't know, being at home, I don't work as well. So this is perfect, yeah. Yeah, no, I'm the same. I've got a little office in my house, and sometimes you're like, it would be good to have the space you go to and you lock up at the end of the day and you go home again. It's kind of nice. A lot of people come in and out of here as well, and I think the amount of times that a good chat has led to something else, or we've said, you could do that, or we could do that together. Yeah. So yeah, I like that element of it as well. Nice. How often are you writing? Are you like at the moment? Is it something you're constantly writing all the time, or have you got stuff on the go you write and you dip back in and out? Well, I wouldn't ever say I'm a writer. My partner Rachel, who's company director of Slick Films, she's the writer, and I direct, and I'll have some involvement in the script as early as she'll let me. But yeah, I think I'm chipping away on my part of the contribution towards whatever projects we're working on.
Yeah.
And that takes up so much time, and also just running the company, putting out various fires day to day, and we've got a lot of projects. So that's, my day to day is kind of overseeing the company and working on our own projects too.
Because as a director, you've still always got to put your stamp on the writing process of it and the thought process behind it all.
I think I'm very lucky, to be honest, with Rachel, because we have a good balance. I think her strengths are my weaknesses and vice versa. So I think she's just so open. And I'm very respectful. I really believe, without writers, I wouldn't be in this industry at all. My brain just doesn't work like that. So I'm a very visual person.
Okay. And
I kind of will say a visual idea to Rachel, and we can kind of work on that together. Myself, Rachel, and our head of film, Rebecca Harris, we've kind of stuck together really. Rachel writes, I direct, and Rebecca Harris Turner produces, and that dynamic between us has served us very well so far.
I really like that. Having that team is so important, like when you're moving with anything, and it's so hard to find, especially when you're starting out. You feel so lonely and alone, and you're like, how do I even break through? And you were an actor, right, for quite a long time, and you still are, right? You still act as well, or is it not as much?
Not as much. I think if someone was to kind of offer me something and I'd like it, I like the script, I would probably still do it.
Okay.
But I don't know. I would say I fell out of love with acting a little bit when I discovered directing.
Same.
Yeah.
But you went from acting then to directing, as you said, and you fell out of love with it, which I totally agree. I fell out of love with the auditioning. I fell out of love with the constant having to be a certain type of person. And as soon as I started directing, I was like, oh, I don't have to pretend. And it's a really weird thing. It was like, I feel like I'm pretending. I'm not being my true self. And I don't even know what that is yet. I'm still finding, and maybe we always are. But I don't know. I don't know if I like myself looking back. It's like, oh, fucking hell. Another, I don't know. Maybe I was really fine. I have no idea, but I certainly much prefer directing, and I much prefer producing and writing. And I only occasionally miss the acting.
Do you think that's because you're a control freak?
Yes.
Same here.
But yes, right. And when you're acting, you can't do that.
That's what I struggled with so much. I think you just don't have the power. You do to a certain degree. You can, get the best headshots you can. You can sharpen your skills as an actor. You can get your showreel ready. You can change your agent. Mm-hmm. But once that's done, that's kind of it. I think, that's giving yourself, writing something as an actor is a great way of maybe giving yourself a job. Yep. But I think that lack of control as an actor really, I didn't get along with it after a while.
Yeah. As an actor, you can't control the edit. You can't control what you look like and what the director, he or she, will deliver, or the editor will deliver. You have no control. And I think one of mine was, I did Coronation Street, and we did 12 takes of this round the table thing. And one take, I fluffed the line. One take, I went, oh, I totally forgot. I was having fun. We're having a great time. It was brilliant. That's the take they used. The one take of me going, and clearly I'd forgotten the line. And then went, oh yeah. And then went back into it. All my family and friends are like, hang on, did you forget that? And you're like, really? And that's the thing, that's lack of control. And I think that was something else that just went, yeah, do you know what? And as soon as you started directing, and then I certainly learned to be a better actor when I directed and edited. And you went, give those little reactions, give the looks when an editor or a director will cut to you is because of a certain look or a blink or a movement. They'll cut to you using that. But if you don't do any of those tricks, and they're tricks that takes years to learn. That's why I think every actor should make their own short, direct it, shoot it themselves, edit it themselves, and watch themselves and go, okay, here's why I might not be getting jobs or might not be getting reaction shots in TV and film.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's a great exercise, isn't it?
Yeah.
It seeing that other side of it, it just immediately kind of made me go, wow, okay, this is where I belong. This is what I want to do. But I started making films. I picked up a camera and never really looked back from the age of like 13.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, there was like an exact moment for me.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was editing. It was editing. We were filming a school project, and we were editing on Pinnacle 8 software. I'm showing my age, and I just could not believe what you could do in the edit. I couldn't believe that you could transform a character. You could use these transitions, and I was kind of like mouth wide open, just thinking this is incredible. And from there, I learned to edit myself, and I got like a little camera for my birthday. And I've been kind of playing around up until the age of like 19 when I started really taking it seriously.
All that time you were acting, were you constantly making shorts then as well? Was it something you were just putting yourself in front, writing parts for yourself, or getting the team to write for you?
At that stage, like, filmmaking was a reason to get me in things as an actor, like my own little projects on the weekend. You know, I'm from a place called Cannock, which is quite a rough place. So it was either like I could get into trouble or I could make films on the weekend, and it's kind of what I chose to do. I kept out of trouble that way. So yeah.
And how brilliant. I totally agree. I think it's a brilliant way for actors to showcase themselves. And if it's rubbish, you don't have to show anyone. But if it's all right, you've got showreel material. And that's how I did it. I started, making stuff myself. I'd always written plays at the Royal Court, Young Writers Programme, Soho, but I shied away from directing. And it was only, through a mistake another director pulled out on a BBC pilot that I went, all right, well, I'll do it. And that's when I fell in love. Was it similar for you?
Exactly the same.
Wow.
I had I'd always I think I'd always hide behind someone else. Like I really loved cinematography. I think I loved directing. I didn't know what it all really was. I did, I started doing showreels for actors. That's kind of where I began. And I would never want to take the reins. I'd always be like, no, I can help, but I'd chip in. I didn't have the confidence, I don't think, to kind of step into it. And then we were doing the Silent Child, and it was going to be co-directed, and it was just one of those things. The other person was just kind of, said it wasn't for him.
Wow.
So I think we were struggling to kind of, get the money, get it off the ground, and I think he was more of a writer director, and fair enough. And Rachel had written this, so it didn't really feel right for him. So I was like, oh my God, like in this position where I was like, right, I've got to do this. There's no way I can't not tell this story.
Yeah.
So that was kind of how how it all started, really.
Wait, so The Silent Child was your first official short film?
I would call it my first official short film.
Wow.
Yeah. I guess I kind of started my own film school with a company called Slick Showreels, which that's when the company was birthed. It evolved into Slick Films, but Slick Showreels is still going today.
Great.
And it's thriving, and it's a great way to kind of discover new talent for us now. But that's where I learned everything. We had like 2 crew members, 2 actors, and we had to make something beautiful out of that. And I made so many mistakes, and I think that was my training ground. That was my film school. Great. So I didn't just go straight into a short. I had about 5 or 6 years practice before The Silent Child. So that was my first official short, but I had the chance to make so many mistakes and fail until I kind of learnt valuable lessons.
Great. I love that. That's so fascinating. And what's amazing about, The Silent Child is, you won an Oscar for your first official short film. I don't know. I mean, it's like 4 or 5 years ago now. Has it sunk in yet that was pretty impressive?
Yeah, I think so. I think when it's your first thing and it's your first festival run.
Yeah.
I mean, we honestly didn't even know you could win an Oscar for a short film. It's not until we got on set and people were saying, "God, this is really good." Like this, the energy on set feels like we're doing something very special. And then there was like, there was talk of it then, like you should submit to an Oscar qualifying festival. And we were like, "What's that?" We genuinely didn't know. The idea behind it was, it was Rachel's drive to kind of raise the profile of deaf awareness, and at the same time, try and do something important and step up from showreels into short films, and hopefully, make people think and know we're serious. So that was the aim, and I think we achieved that bit very quickly. We got into a little festival, we won that, and then we had our world premiere, and then it's this crazy journey. So now I know how difficult it is. I just think, it is so rare what happened, but it does happen, and I don't know what to say about it. So I'm still, it is crazy. It really is.
Yeah.
Well,
let's talk through making a short film then, in terms of, like you say, at the time you were doing it for specific reasons. You stepped in, because the director didn't do it. Rachel was doing it for her reasons, and you all wanted to come together and make a short, which I think sometimes the best way. You're doing this because you just want to. We want to tell this story. If people see it, great. This is a showreel for all of us. Let's move forward and then see what happens. And if it gets picked up, and if it, wins BAFTA or an Oscar, so be it. Aim there. But I personally always think shorts should be your calling card. It's something to do that, it's a way of making movies and learning. And like you say, failing and getting better and practicing. And so many filmmakers don't do it. They go, oh, I'm just going to do my feature. I've made one short and I was like, no, make as many as you can. Keep making them, right? What's your ethos at Slick Films? Because, this is what you do. You're very good at it. You constantly make brilliant short films. Talk us through the ethos, and then we'll talk through how you do the process from beginning to end.
Sure. I think my personal ethos has kind of, bred itself into the company and the foundations of the company, and what we promote as exec producers when we help other people on other filmmakers with shorts in development with us. And I think you get offered a lot when you win an award like an Oscar. So
like an Oscar.
Yeah. And we were offered a lot. There was these feature films that came to me straight away, but they just weren't right. I spoke about this to someone else, and I was just saying, like, they were like, the first page was like, and the Johnny is opening the door to his Mustang, and I'm like, I can't direct this, I can't do that. So I think what we decided to do was to learn our craft and realize, like, we really don't know. We've done something very good, important, and people liked it, but we need to learn. We need to learn our craft. So that's what we decided to do. So, and we went away and we did some more shorts, and we helped other filmmakers do theirs. So I really believe there is a ladder, and there's many examples of people not even doing a short, going straight to a feature.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That wouldn't be certainly my route. I think you have to have space to fail.
Yes.
And we for me, it has always been 3 shorts and a feature.
Cool.
Three shorts then a feature, and I've done 3 shorts now. And I don't know if I'll ever feel ready for a feature, but I feel like I have learned so much since The Silent Child, and each short has been a lesson, and working with other filmmakers, I've learned an equal amount from doing that, overseeing them, helping them, and talking through and promoting what we already know.
Yes. And
seeing how that develops as well.
I think that's so true. I think it's really important. I mean, those people who jump straight to a feature, I'm like, that's crazy. That's like me. I feel like, and maybe it's too far, but my dad was a dentist, and so therefore I can work on your teeth, or someone's a landscape gardener, I can do that. Sure, I might be all right at it. Yeah. The dentist thing, probably not. But the landscape gardening, I might get away with it. But I'm like, gee, you're jumping into a fire without any fireproof clothing on.
Yeah.
And by doing a short or even a promo or a bar mitzvah video, for God's sake, you learn about camera, technique, angles. If you've not done that, well, you don't know how to work with actors. You don't know what lens size works and what that is telling a story. Every lens tells a story. Every angle tells a story. Why you're moving the camera, why you're not. And if you've just read that in a book, it's very different to doing it. Like I say, it's madness in some way. I get it, and some people do very well at it, but I personally think you have to earn your stripes with anything.
Without a doubt. I couldn't agree more. And you've just got to go through the process many times. I think even still, if you did like a short and it was like a 1 day shoot, and then you did another one, it was like a 2 day shoot, you're not going to learn as much as being on set for like 7 days doing a shoot. You know, it's the miles, isn't it? I think you need those miles, and I can completely understand why people don't break into television straight away, or you know. So yeah, I think we found ourselves in a very unique position, but I'm just so glad that we went away, learnt our craft, and now we can, I think, stand behind that and be ready for a bigger project now.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about what makes a good short. What the failures people do along the way. So let's go from the very beginning. You've got an idea. Okay, where do you feel like you should go from there with a short? What's the process?
Well, I think it helps. I mean, funding is such a difficult thing. That's the first big barrier. And I think a lot of new filmmakers obviously make shorts, and they don't really know where to turn. So I think it's about putting one foot in front of the other and building this team and building like a pyramid to the top.
Sure.
So you've got to lay the foundations. You've got to get that core team. And it's so funny, but I think people produce without even realising they're producing.
Always.
You know.
It's unbelievable. They go, I need a producer. I'm like, you've been producing. All your other short, you did it all yourself.
Yeah. Time again, we point that out and say, you've actually hired all these people. And they're like, oh, right. They just don't have the confidence, you know.
Yes.
So I think it's, you know, that you're going into the unknown if you've never made a short before, I think. So the starting point is just kind of building a team, really, and we really believe in honing that script. And I'm sure it's like exactly the same as a feature. It's just so much longer, but that's got to be rock solid. That's the Bible that, you know, the production designer, the DOP, everybody hangs on to that. And when shit hits the fan on set, people are looking to the script. They're like, well, we need this scene. There's so much focus on that script. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's different for other filmmakers, but it's the Bible. So I think people can be impatient. I'm definitely guilty of that. I want to get going.
Yep.
But you've got to nail that script. You've got to get it ready. You've got to test it. You've got to be open to feedback as well. So I think step one is you know, this development part, which is so crucial, and getting your script right.
I think I love that you said that. So many people want to jump too quickly, and I'm like, you get one chance with an investor, one chance with a streamer, one chance with an actor, a DOP, and if they go, yeah, script needs work, and everyone caveats it, well, yes, we're going to do another pass, and we'll see what they think. They might have notes. No, make it amazing in your mind, and if they come with extra notes, great, but it has to be unbelievable. It just has to be, you know, again, if it's you and your mates and you're going out to shoot something, sure, don't worry about it. But if you're trying to get a name actor or a name DOP or some money from somewhere, well, you have to have gone through that process of sending it to as many friends, as many screenwriting competitions as you can, I think, at least processing it and going, this can't just be something we've written overnight and going, this is great, let's go shoot tomorrow.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you've got to understand, or filmmakers have got to understand, if they haven't made a short or sent a script to anyone, you've got to understand, especially if it's a feature, what you're expecting someone to do when you ask them to read your script. Like, what's that, like 2-3 hours to set aside for a feature film?
Easy.
At least an hour, really, for a short as well, because, all right, it might be 15 pages, but you've got to think about it either side. You've got to give your feedback. So I think it's what you said about reading that second draft, or, you know, like, oh, there's going to be another one. Well, it's very unlikely that someone will read that second pass. Yeah, you know, unless they're really invested in some way. So I think, yeah, you've got to be very prepared for people to just read it once. Yeah.
So when people approach you, Slick Films, with projects, which I imagine happens quite a lot, what do you look for? What's the things that work for you and what are the things that don't? What do you think you go, I can see something in that? And like you say, the ones that you just go, yeah, it's nowhere near ready.
Well, I think films with a social conscience resonate with us.
Okay.
You know, we like to, it's a big statement, but we like to see if we can change the world a little bit through film. I think we've seen the power of film, and we've seen we've seen how it can actually change legislation and various other parts of society and people's view on society. So I think that will always hook us in if there's a message like that. That's not enough on its own. It's got to be entertaining. And we don't just do that, you know, like I think I would say, you know, for every 5 socially conscious films we do, we'll do one that is just pure entertainment, a love story or something genre, you know. So I think characters, story, and if there's a message in there, then we're interested. I mean, me personally, I always read a treatment first because I'm a visual. Image research is massive for me. If I've got, if someone sends me a treatment and it's well designed and it's well laid out and the image research is you know, on point, and I'll get to the end of it and I'll go, yeah, I can completely see what this is. I can completely see the vision here. Then I'll read the script. Yeah, I think I'll always do it that way round. I'll always have a little look. You know, I love reading director's statements. You can just, you can get, and I think people have to get used to that as well. Because I think when you're expecting investors to read a script, I mean, I think they're very unlikely to do that. And maybe they're unlikely to even read a treatment, but they're probably more chance of flicking through something visual than reading 120 pages, you know?
That's fact. There's no question about it. You know, a script to anyone who isn't in the business it's an odd thing to read. You know, int X, what the hell is this, day, night? What am I supposed to know here? Character, it's not easy to read. So the more visual you can make your decks and everything, absolutely, of course, that's the first thing the investor looks at is visual. I think we do too. I'm the same as you. I really look at, you know, decks. It's when someone sends me something, I'm like, can you just put, you know, have you got a deck? Because like you say, reading a script, that might take me all day, and I don't mean to read it, to think about it, process it, make notes. You've really got to sit, and you can't be distracted. You've got to turn everything off, and this is a serious thing. Okay, so script's massively important. You mentioned finances before we even get to set. So let's talk about that a little bit. With short films, as everyone struggles with, it's where to find any kind of money. So how did you do it? How do you do it? What do you feel are the best ways to go about that?
Yeah, it's tough. I'm not going to lie. But, you know, we've got a slate of over 30 shorts now. So I think we are doing something right.
Yes.
And I think it's a mixture of a lot of different things. I feel, you know, there's so much pressure on the grants. You know, everyone will apply for them and they can't choose everyone. Nope. They must get so many submissions. So many. That's a difficult job for them to do. So we'll always encourage people to, put your grants in, do the application, and then forget about it. Yeah. If you get lucky, great. But it's a momentum killer. And 9 times out of 10, people won't get that grant. They won't get that funding. And it can kind of crush them a little bit. People rely on it too much. So it's really important to kind of think of it like a patchwork quilt. You know, how we've done it. Like, I know people say don't put your own money in, but like, if nobody was biting on the Silent Child. Honestly, it was like we had never done anything before. We went everywhere, absolutely everywhere, and we came to the end of this weird road where we're like, well, we've literally exhausted all avenues. So should we crowdfund? And I can't tell you how difficult that was. It kind of took over our lives for like 3 months, and it was only 10 grand, but we got it. And then, you know, so that was one way. And I don't know, like, ever doing crowdfunding again, I'm not sure, but you've got to stay open. But so crowdfunding, you know, grants, but I think our most successful way of funding a short so far has been private investment. Right. I think, you know, we design like a hybrid of a director's treatment and a producer's pitch deck / budget. You know, put all those things in a nice, sexy designed pack, and we call it an investor's pack. And we shop that around, and we go to various contacts that we have, but we don't have a massive pool of investors. But we try and connect with people on the internet and at film festivals. And we've always got that up our sleeve. And it's I guess it's like private crowdfunding. We'll have various different packages, and we'll say, you know, like you can have a credit on the film for this amount. You can have a co-production company credit. And usually it has been really successful, and we'll find people that have a connection to the story, or just have something to gain by getting their first credit. And honestly, it's been mostly people that aren't in the industry, that are new, and it sounds exciting to them, and it's not like you're not asking them to put like 150 grand in, 250 grand.
Yes.
You know, sometimes it's like, can you put 2.5 grand in, 5 grand, 10 grand? So that for us has been the most successful. And then I'll come back to self-funding, because, you know, I've sat on various panels and people have said, never put your own money in. And I get that. And I know they're right. But what do you do if no one will give you anything? Yep. Well, I can't sit here and say I haven't put my own money into things, because when you're not able to get help from elsewhere, like, you've got to back yourself. So
absolutely,
I feel a bit cautious about saying it. I don't want to promote it, but I do believe in just doing anything you can to get a film made. And if that does mean you've got to put some savings in to get to the next level in your career, then I would say do it.
Yes, I did it with every single one of my shorts. All my money, put it in, because I wanted to prove I could make something, because no one's going to give you a chance like we've talked about. And certainly if I was to produce something, if they hadn't made any shorts at all, I wouldn't take that chance. So if that's me, you think of all the big studios and the Netflixes, they're not going to take a chance on you unless you're a superstar actor, different. But if you're just a filmmaker, everyone else out there, you've got to have something in your back pocket. And I literally say, take it out your back pocket, that money you've got, save up that money, do everything you can to make a film. And if, like say, put your own savings in, or I say it's investing in yourself, really.
Absolutely.
Because then you've got something to show. You've got that. Out of these sort of investors and people, like, because there'll be a lot of people going, yeah, but it's all fine for them because they've got an Oscar, it's easier now. But I don't agree with that. I think people can find money anywhere. I think there's always people who want to help people who are passionate about something. And I think that is something to think about with your films as well, is what's the topic? What are you trying to say? If you're a passionate animal lover, do something on that and then target people who are also passionate about that. Or if it's a dentist story, target dentists. I've gone on the dentist theme today. It's not even 2:30 time. So I think that for me is so important that you really think about it, and not just, well, I want to make a short, and you can, but then put your own money in. Don't expect anyone else to. And I never did. I never thought anyone would ever put money into any of my shorts. So I was always like, I'll just do it myself. But it's great that there is a way. And there is so many short film funds, not just BFI, or there's Genera, and there's a few other fantastic ones out there that you can apply to. And I think, touching on what you said about applying, is what applying does is it focuses you, because you've got to answer certain questions about your film. Why are you doing it? You've got to put all that in. That's hugely focusing.
Yeah. That
really helps to then your deck or your pack to go to investors or go to someone like yourself and say, I think I'm ready. Okay. So there's that side of it. What is there any other thing that you also, even looking back now, that you could do differently, or finding other ways or avenues to find money for shorts specifically?
I mean, we work with, we've cut out a few good deals with charities, actually.
Yep, good one. Yeah.
And I think everything's got to be mutually beneficial. It's very rare someone will do something for nothing.
Yeah.
You know, there has to be a gain on both ends. So yeah, surprisingly, charities can be a really good starting point, even if they don't put money in, to kind of like have that stamp of approval from them. Do you know what I mean? I think that in itself can maybe mean that you're taking it seriously. So when you do go to someone else, you can go, we're backed by this charity. So I think that's really good. That's one of the first things we'll always do. If we've got a subject, that's quite hard hitting, or we'll always try and go deeper with our research and try and connect with experts. And yes, some of them have given money. I think we did a short film called The Morning Bird, and that was, about knife crime, and a great charity called Power of the Fight, put in some money. And I think what they were going to get out of it was to be able to use the film to go and talk to young people. And it was just a great tool for them, and they saw value in that. And it won't always work, but it's. I've heard a few people say this as well, so I think that's definitely a good option. So I think charities and like taking a risk on people.
Yes.
Look, like if you want to work with, I think you've got your project going, you've got it ready, and you want to work with the best people. But I think. I think when we were making The Silent Child, sorry I keep coming back to this, but we were so desperate, right? Yeah. That like, I think 2 days before, I knew that I wanted to set a boom up as well as a sound recordist. It was so important because there was about 8 characters at one point. And I thought one person can't do that on its own. I really value sound, and I thought we need that. And like, I just went on Mandy and I asked people, I said, do you like the script? I've never met them. I just thought, his profile photo looks nice. I was like, do you like it? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, do you want to come down then? We're filming in Stoke. He was like, yeah, all right. And then I did that with another person. Like the only credit he had was a music video AC credit, and he just looked like he had a friendly face. I just chatted to him. And I said, do you want to come down? And I took a risk, and it paid off. And because they've got something to prove. And I think if you can find people that are maybe experienced at a lower level but ready to step up, yes, they've got something to gain. Yeah. So I think perhaps you don't have to pay like a feature film fee or an APA rate. You probably can pay a much lower fee to someone who's stepping up,
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's that as well. I think taking risks on maybe not having your ideal crew. Yes, in heads of departments, I think that's important, but give opportunities to other people in maybe smaller roles.
Yes. No, I love that. And it's so true. And then actually you find that that helps their career massively, but also they'll come and help you again, with the next one or for the features, I'll come and do that for you. Interestingly, my first short film, and we were doing it ourselves type thing on the last one. It's like, okay, we'll do it. I'd done a feature as an actor, and the DP was amazing. And it was like, okay, I'll sod it. I'll ask. I've got nothing to lose. Let me ask. And he instantly said yes. And it was amazing just because of those connections and people, and I took a risk. And it's not really a risk, but it felt like a risk that he was just going to go, what? No, you're directing what? And he didn't. He went, absolutely, and I'll bring my crew, I'll bring my red, I'll bring this. He's just won the Oscar for All Quiet on the Western Front.
No way.
James Friend. Yeah.
Wow. There you go.
So sometimes it is about that going, do you know what? I'm just going to ask that person who I might have met once who might help me out. Yeah. And the film was so much better for it. Yeah. And that's where I fell in love with making films myself. Yeah. And if he wasn't there and I was maybe doing it much more myself or with a friend who's sort of shooting some stuff, would I have fallen as much in love than with someone who was so talented and so on their game and brought so much? So yes, taking a risk is a big thing to do. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think as an actor, it's really good to be able to utilize those contacts that you make on set. I mean, a lot of what we're able to do that. Like Rachel and myself have worked with some fantastic actors, and we have that ability to be able to just send them something or just ask them, and we've been surprised at how many times that's been a yes. So yeah, completely
Isn't it
agree.
Fascinating when you just ask. People will always say, they can always say no. That's the thing, and it doesn't matter. But if you don't ask, people are very scared of asking. I think there's a big fear of failure by doing something and then failing at your dream, and I think that's what puts a lot of filmmakers off. Yeah. Or they want to be a filmmaker. I'm going to be a filmmaker, but if I do it and it fails, if I don't have the right DP and it fails, if I don't have the right actors and it fails, I'm like, it doesn't matter if it fails. Learn from that failure. You don't have to win every award. You don't have to win an Oscar for your first film.
But that's what you think.
Everyone thinks.
But like when it happened to us, like we were paralyzed. If I'm being completely honest, we just didn't think anything we were doing was good enough. I look back at some of the scripts that Rachel wrote, and we both were like, no, we can't. That can't be. It's got to be something bigger. It's got to be, and it just paralyzed us. And like, look back now, I'm like, oh my God, we should just bloody gone out and done it.
Yeah. and hit that and hit it, but you can't. You get that fear, and I think it's overcoming that fear and just going, do you know what? If I want to do this, I've just got to go for it and do it. I certainly did that with all my shorts, and when I made the first feature, it was just like, you just fight the fear. You might fail, but do you know what? Fail boldly, fail big, and learn from it, and come out the other side.
Yeah,
I think the other side of maybe financing stuff is corporate. And it's a different angle, but if you make corporates anyway, maybe persuade them to do a kind of film that is more what you want to make, that you can turn into a short. You go, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we had, there is those angles.
Yeah.
So, that dream short you've always wanted to make, that happens to be set in a dentist, and you do a corporate about a dentist, turn it into,
I mean, that's a good option, isn't it? Yeah, if you have those contacts. But yeah, I think you might lose a bit of freedom there working with a client because it becomes a little bit more commercial. But branded shorts are very cool as well. Yeah, I've done one of them, and there was an amazing experience. Shot it all on a phone, and it was wild. It was brilliant. I think that's great if you can get in there as well.
Yeah, I think any opportunity. I think there are them out there, and you've just got to literally go for all of them, and if none of them, do it yourself. I've done 3 crowdfunders, and they were all so hard, no question about it. It's that fear of, again, asking your friends for money. But what I learned from doing crowdfunders is your friends won't put money in. Some of them might, but most of them won't. Don't get disappointed by that. It's the random people who do, because as long as you target the right people, you're targeting people who I'm gonna keep doing this analogy, but dentists and teeth. Or in our case, with our vegan documentary, we targeted animal rights, and then also vegans, and then we also targeted environment. So we did 3 different targets. So we were very particular about how we did it, and very strategic about, this week we're doing this one, this week we're doing this.
Smart.
But that was prep, a lot of prep, and knowing that I'd made features by that point and how I could target it and do it, and already done a couple of crowdfunders. So it's tough. Let's talk about actually getting to set then, and the prep work in what makes a good short now that you have had the success, and also learning from making others for other people and what works and what doesn't. What advice to go from, all right, let's say we've written a brilliant script, we've now got some money, let's say, whether it's your own or someone else's. What's the next steps for you guys?
Well, I think it's, deciding on your collaborators, isn't it? Reaching out to your HODs, because the talent in your team around you is going to make your film. So I think those choices, having those conversations, and having people that know what a short is, I think that's really important. You're not doing a short for money.
Yes,
you're doing it for the script. You're doing it for the story. You're doing it because maybe one day you'll go on and do a feature together. You know what I mean? Or there's something in it for that HOD. Yep. That they'll be able to show in their show reel. Again, it's got to be mutually beneficial. But yeah, I think it's starting to build the team. And I think location is huge. Yeah. Absolutely huge. Obviously, each script has its own variables. But yeah, I think budget is so tight, and I don't know if there's, I think there's probably more wiggle room maybe on a feature because the budget's more expansive, maybe.
No, honestly, it's the same. Yeah. It's just more. So it's like doing a short every day for 4 weeks or whatever. Yeah. It's the same. You kind of tackle each as you go, and then you forget what you've done because you can't physically. You retain the edit. You retain how this transition will go through, but in my opinion, it's the same. There's no difference. There's just more people to walk by getting to set. You know what I mean? There's maybe someone giving you a sound wedge rather than you making it yourself. Yeah. There's maybe someone doing, the DIT rather than you at night doing it. There's a lot of that. But essentially, you've just got, as a director, you've got to hold more in your head. As a producer, you've got to oversee much more money and much more people and more of a therapist side of a lot of planning. And as a writer, it's just overseeing you're making sure and that's something I want to ask you as well, is the writing of it. Do you always go with a beginning, middle and end, or can they be open-ended?
It is difficult. I think an ending's really important though. And I guess I could talk about more like a the length as well. Because
Length, please, yes.
Because I think
important.
Films under 10 minutes kind of have less of an end. I don't know. That's what I've seen, but
Okay.
but yeah, I think if the sweet spot is apparently between 12 and 15 minutes for a short.
Is this for festival reasons?
Yes, programming. Yeah.
No, because imagine if you're the festival programmer and you've got a short that's 22 minutes, which is great, but then you've got 2 that are 10. You're going to probably get the 2 that are 10.
Yeah.
They're just as good, but
Yeah.
that length thing is really tough, I think, for a lot of filmmakers.
It is, but I think if you've got a film with that kind of sweet spot, I think it's more likely that you will find the right end naturally. It'll just feel like that, and I think that's enough time towards, especially 15 minutes and maybe under 20. Like, it's enough time for the audience to really engage with the characters. I think under 10, perhaps, like, there's not enough time for the audience to care enough about those characters. But yeah, it's so subjective, isn't it?
Right.
You know, talking about endings.
So do you not now, with your latest, did you think about all those things? Did you think about time, and did you think about ending and beginning?
I definitely thought I would like to make a short that's around 15 minutes, and with credits it ended up like just under 17. So, you know, kind of did it. But yeah, I think going back to programming, when they can show 6 short films in a block instead of like 3, then they would prefer that, you know. We've got a short at the moment called By Any Other Name, and that's slightly longer, and the director wanted it to be even longer because he liked having things that just sit. And I just said, look, I absolutely agree, but it might be more difficult at festivals. And I kind of got some feedback from a festival that it didn't get into, and some of our other shorts did, and it literally came down to time. It was like, I can see the quality, but like, I can't program it that easy. He said anything under 15 minutes is so easy to program. You know, you've got 50% more chance of you know, getting into festivals if it's 15 minutes and under. And I was like, wow, you know, you get so lost in making these shorts, finding the ending, you know, finding that beginning, middle and end. But you know what, the idea of these shorts is to get them out there, get them seen. So it's a tough balance, isn't it? You want to establish your voice, you want to make the film you want to make, but you want to get it out there, and you want people to give you that feedback, and you want that response, and you want it to play at these festivals, and that will help your next project.
Yeah. In terms of on set then, and what have you learned that works and doesn't? Because sometimes you have a day, right? You got that location for a day. You've been lucky you get 2 or 3 on a short. What have you learned, or your filmmakers have learned during that time, do you think, that really helps?
Keep the crew small. I think when you're an inexperienced director, and you know, by that I mean I'd still count myself perhaps as an inexperienced director, and maybe until I've done a few features, I don't know. But I think keeping the crew as small as you can. Obviously, you can't do everything yourself, and the crews I've worked with started as like 12 or 15. You know, I don't like to really have more than like 20, 25 crew members, if possible. It's not always possible. But I think that's especially if you're starting out, keep your crew as small as you can. I think, you know, for our first film, I was putting people in costumes. You know, Rachel was doing production design. Becky was doing bits of catering, and you know, we were all, that's just how it is on a short. You know, you do multiple roles, and you just kind of get used to that, and it is stressful. But I think it's a good way to learn, and I think it just makes it a little bit easier to moving 25 people around and organising their travel and getting from A to B is far easier if you're just moving like 10 people around, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know, there is something in this, because looking at all the shorts we've done so far, there's a handful of shorts that were all made under 10 grand with smaller crews, and I don't know what it is, but they seem to have done the best. And I don't know, maybe that's fluke, but that's about 4 or 5 now, and there's something in that. They're small budget, they're small crew, and they're getting into these big festivals, and it's like, well, the festivals aren't even seeing that it's made like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So I don't know. I think there is something in keeping it a little bit contained.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, you can move faster for one. Like, when you've got a big crew, it takes longer to move everything around, especially if you've got multiple locations. If it's just you, DP, sound, makeup, actors, let's go. You know what I mean? Let's move over there now. Let's get in. You can control that better, easier. But again, it depends what you need.
Yeah.
If you've got big action sequences or you've got people, pulling limbs off, it's a horror, whatever, that needs a team. On that, would you suggest that people keep it simple, or would you suggest they think ambitiously with a short?
I think you can work up to more ambitious projects. I think people, I think people can start as ambitious as the story they want to tell is, but it's difficult. That the experience, I think, does matter, but I think you've ultimately just got to tell the story you want to tell. But I think your approach will reflect the quality, and sometimes that doesn't mean having everything you want. I actually don't think having all the time in the world is a good thing. I think it's you actually become more efficient sometimes with a little bit less money and a little bit less time. I was surprised. I thought we had loads of time on my last short. I was like, oh, well, this God, we got 3 scenes and one day we'll be fine. And we were over nearly every day, So I actually think there's something in being, just making it a little bit tighter, perhaps.
Yeah.
I don't think all the money in the world is the answer to all your problems. I think it's, we had loads, because of COVID, our shoot was delayed. We had loads of time to plan and storyboard. We couldn't have been more prepared, really, and still loads of things went wrong. And the day we thought would be almost impossible went so well and so easy. I couldn't work it out. I was like, right. But one of the biggest lessons I learned was, like, if you want to speed something up, shoot on Steadicam. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, the Steadicam saved us.
Wow.
We designed all these shots, and I thought, God, that's going to take hours, and it just didn't.
Wow.
And I was like, well, I know it's not the first time I've used a Steadicam, a few times, but it just like really clicked. I was like, wow, oh my God, that the Steadicam saved the day.
It is interesting, isn't it? Those choices, and gosh, things will go wrong, and accept them, and it's going to happen. And on a short, you're going to go over, so don't mess around at the beginning of the day.
I think people plan for things to go wrong, right? But they don't really plan for it to go right.
Right.
Yeah, and it does.
Yeah, it does go right.
You got to have faith in that. Things go wrong, but they also go right too.
Yes, they do. Now moving on to post and edit, getting it out there. What kind of things do you think have helped you, especially with The Silent Child, when you set that up and you sort of went, wow? How do you plan your post process? Because that's where a lot of people just sit on it and go, oh, I've got work at the moment, I'll do it in a bit, especially with shorts.
Yeah, I think we've been so lucky to have people that just really engage with the work that we're doing, and we've kind of kept hold of them. Was great color grader, sound mixer, and they don't work on everything. Had to accept that it's a bit slower, unless you've got a massive budget and you can hire one of these post houses to do it all very quickly. It's just, I think, accepting on a short that perhaps you are working with people maybe out of hours, and that's kind of how we've done it, because we've kept our budgets a little bit smaller by working with crew that perhaps have a day job. Maybe they work at Molyneux or one of the post houses during the day, but after hours and on the weekends they'll help us out. And that's exactly how it's kind of worked. And we, like I say, we've kept this amazing team, and it's very difficult to navigate a first short with post, and then you have to get your DCP ready, and that doesn't work. And there's it's just going through the process. I think just once, is going to film school, and I really enjoy kind of mentoring people that go through that process the first time. Like two of my best friends have both done a short with me, and like I've just loved like helping them, and they're like, oh my God, what happens now? I'm like, don't worry, you will not be putting a film out there that you're not proud of. And they're like, but what if this doesn't work? I was like, it will. Don't worry. Just be patient. Like, we'll get it right. We'll never put something out that you're not 100% happy with. So it's just like, you know, I can empathise so much with their fear and their pain, and they don't know that because they haven't gone through the entire process yet.
Yes. Yeah. And that fear of seeing that first edit and just going, it's terrible. My film is terrible. And it will look terrible. Honestly, now, no, that first cut will be terrible.
Yeah.
That's okay. Now you've got to make it better and chip away at it and get it better.
Yeah. Doesn't Scorsese even say, like, if you're not heartbroken after watching the first cut, there's something seriously wrong?
Yes.
So I kind of held on to that. And I've always broken my heart, like, pretty on every first cut.
Oh, it hurts, doesn't it? You just look at it and go, oh, that I am a terrible filmmaker.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am the worst. Yeah. I'm never going to work again. I should bin this now. And I think a lot of filmmakers do stop at that point. They go, this is terrible. I'm not putting it out. But no, persevere with that film. You had a vision. And even if the shots weren't exactly what you wanted, the story is still there. You've shot your story. Tell that story.
Yeah, but also just all the bells and whistles, the sound mix, the sound design, the grade. You know, that once it's picture locked, like, it's a completely different film. Mm-hmm. I think the more films you do, the more experience you have, you learn to trust that.
Yeah, you do, and you know it's going to get better, and it usually does. No, it always does. It always does. And we talked about festivals a little bit, but maybe some of the better ways to apply, you know what I mean? Now knowing your journey to winning an Academy Award, but also other people's journeys of that as well, and you guiding that. What's best ways to apply, I suppose?
Well, look, everyone knows Film Freeway, and I think everybody's uncomfortable with Short Film Depot. I think there's two main platforms, and then some big festivals as well. You apply on their own website. But yeah, Film Freeway makes it so easy, and it can be quite addictive, actually. But yeah, I think I was surprised. I thought, actually, perhaps winning an Oscar might help the next festival run, and it fucking doesn't.
Right?
Really? No, not really. Not honestly. Like, it might be easy to go back to some of the festivals and say, but if they don't like it and it doesn't program, like, you get in because the film's good, not what you did last.
That's probably very true on features as well.
Yeah.
I've seen, they'll definitely look at it, but if they don't like it, like you say, they'll go, oh, it's not, we're going down this angle and yours isn't that angle. Yeah. So it doesn't matter if you've won before and you'll turn up and talk about it. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's my experience anyway. I mean, I'm sure it's helped in certain ways, but yeah, I think it's about the work, which I like.
Right. And what about because there's a lot of platforms now where you can put your short film on there to potentially turn a profit.
I think two things make it more likely for you to turn a profit on a short film, and that's a very low budget and huge success on the festival circuit. And I've spoke about them all the time. I mean, people think I have shares in this company, but I just love them, and we work with them. They're called Network Ireland Television, and they're a small company, and they're in Ireland. Personally, we love working with them. They don't take on everything that we do, so we look for other avenues. Then
something else we didn't touch on right then is companies who help short filmmakers put their films in festivals. There's quite a few out there now who short filmmakers go, oh, they will help me. They know all the festivals and doing it that way. Is that another way to do it as well? And
yeah, there's a great company called Festival Formula. And I think they're great. And I think they do features as well.
They do now, yeah.
We've worked with them, and I'd highly recommend them.
Okay.
Because I think what they do is they go to every festival. You see them go all around the world, and they know their stuff. They're connecting with the festival directors, and you can't buy that knowledge. You know, whilst we're busy making films, they're jetting off around the world at all the big film festivals. And yeah, knowledge is power, right?
Yeah, I love that. I think that's fantastic. I think the company's incredible. Slick Films is just, you know, the people I meet now who do mention you or talk about you. I had a few I've gone, yeah, I know who they are. And, you know, you've got that reputation, which is fantastic, and you've built it up brilliantly. And it proves that shorts are a fantastic breeding ground and a place where you can create and learn and make things you want to make and get out there and do it and be the filmmaker, you know? And I think that's huge. So congratulations to you and Rachel and the whole team. You know, it's brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Yeah. Finally, I wanted to ask you about that moment when you sat the Academy Awards, and you're thinking, could we win this? And they come to your moment and they're about to read your names. Talk us through that moment.
Well, I specifically remember sitting there, and you sit on the kind of the same row as all your fellow nominees.
Right.
So all the short film nominees were on the same row, and we were next to another set of nominees. And someone with a clipboard came round to them and just, oh, okay, can we move you to the front? And we were like, oh, no. And we looked at each other, me and Rachel were like, oh, well, we're here.
Yes.
We were just like, it wasn't meant to be. And we genuinely thought at that moment, it didn't go our way.
Right.
And I was a bit gutted, but in a way quite relieved that I didn't have to get up and say something on stage. Genuinely, that was a thing. I remember Sam Rockwell being the first to get his award, and the dread. I thought, oh my God, if we do win, I've got to say something. I was like, I'd actually prefer not to. And then throughout the evening, I think that went back and forth. Like Rach was really nervous at one point, and then I was like, oh no, I think we'll be all right. And then that would flip when someone else would talk. But anyway, 5 minutes later, someone with a clipboard came round and said, hi, your award is coming up. Can you move down the front? And we were like, oh, okay, right. Well, we're back on. Yeah, all right.
At least a camera in my face.
Yeah, and then they sat us in this box next to the stage, and then I don't know. It was. I mean, people said we looked quite cool, calm, and collected, but I think I was just in shock when they read that out. But I just remember it being so long. We were 16th, number 16, and it was like. It was painful. We were just like, I don't know, the nerves, because so much depends on it, right?
Yeah,
and all the
massive.
Hard work that you've done leads up to this moment, and we would have been all right with whatever happened. But I think more than anything, we wanted it for all the hard work of the team and what it would do for the profile of deaf awareness.
Yes.
So there was that internal pressure going on, and I remember the two presenters. They were both in Bridesmaids, and they were, laughing and joking as the presenters do, and we just were not in the mood for jokes. We were like, it's just this weird thing, and then they open the envelope and read out your names, and you go, shit, we've got to go and say something. And I remember locking eyes with Meryl Streep and just going, wow, this is mental, and just remembering how heavy the Oscars were, because Rachel was signed her speech, so I had to hold both of them. I was like, whoa. Yeah, they were very heavy, and then she did her speech, and it's drummed into you, by the way, before you on the road to kind of the evening, like you've got 45 seconds to say your piece and get off. They're so serious with you. They're like, you don't have enough time, and I just remember this massive clock in the audience,
it's literally a countdown clock in the audience.
Yeah, and Rach was finishing up her speech, and I just remember it said 3, 2, 1, and then she finished hers, and I had to speak, and then it just said get off the stage, and I was like, okay, and I just rattled through my thank yous and stuff like that, and then it flashes up again, get off the stage.
Get off!
Yeah,
there's a hook coming in a minute. You're like, oh my God.
And then the music comes up, and then I know the next stage is they turn the mic off. So I was so close to having everything I said cut off, maybe seconds. But it was just I was like, come on, Rach, hurry up.
Yeah.
And it just said, 3, 2, 1, get off the stage.
Wow.
Time's up. Get off the stage.
Get off, you idiots. No one cares.
Yeah.
No, please.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a magical moment, and one we will treasure forever. And I don't know, I look back with such fond memories of that evening,
And after that must have been the best Blur moment afterwards, because you didn't think you were going to win at half the night, and then suddenly you're holding Oscars, both of you, wandering around, getting invited to all the parties now. Suddenly it's like, oh, you were the winners. That, again, must have just been this wonderful blur of, don't know what's going on.
Yeah, there's the Vanity Fair party, and we didn't have an invite, but apparently, you know, people were saying, "Oh, if you show your Oscars, you'll get in," and we were like, "Ha ha," no, and people were like, "No, if you do, you." So we were like, "Okay." So we went there, and it was quite nice because a lot of the press leading up to the Oscars were so kind to us and so supportive. So it was nice to kind of go and chat to them for a little bit. But ultimately, we didn't stay very long. We wanted to get back to, like, there was like a house party in Glendale where we were staying, and we just wanted to kind of get back there and be with the people who we made the film with.
That's beautiful. Congratulations. Amazing.
Thank you very much.
This has been fabulous. What a wonderful chat. I've really enjoyed this a lot. It's been really magical. Well done, man. I really thought this was great.
Thank you. I love the podcast, and I can't wait to continue listening.
Thank you. So listen, it's kind of proved you can go make your film, short film, whatever it is, you can do it. It's only write the best script, and that's what we've discussed today, how important that is. Find the best collaborators. You can absolutely do that, and think about your shots on set. Don't waste time. Get it done. Get it the best you can.
Just go out and do it. Yeah. Sometimes you just have to go out and bloody do it.
Yeah.
You know, don't wait for it to all be perfect, because it usually won't be.
Yeah.
Just get out there and make it happen.
And if you're lucky enough to rise up and do well, it is your duty to send the elevator back down, just as Chris has done. Thank you so much. What an amazing chat. Appreciate it a lot.
Cheers, Giles.
Take care, everyone. We'll see you next Tuesday for another episode of the Filmmakers Podcast. Until then, go make your films. Literally, do something about it. Now, this week. Why not? What else are you waiting for? Don't be scared anymore. Make it happen. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.